In this bucket is a crab. That's a Dungeness crab, our state crustacean. This one, believe it or not, is a live Dungeness crab. To harvest Dungeness crab, you can see his eyes down there. They come out on stalks, which is kind of cool, and antennae. They're orange to purplish. Sometimes they have multiple different colors in them, but they always have 10 legs. And these back ones here aren't quite so dangerous, although they help them to move around and actually swim along the ocean floor when they're adults and juveniles. But for the first year of their life, they are actually plankton. They start out as eggs, and the eggs are held underneath the abdomen. This is actually a male crab. You can see this little pointy bit right there. It's pointy when it's a male, and it's sort of roundish when it's a female. The reason why it's round when it's a female is that that's where they hold their eggs. But the life cycle of a Dungeness crab, our state crustacean, looks like this. Yep, Dungeness crab, Cancer, Magister, life cycle. So it starts out as eggs, a whole bunch of teeny tiny little orange eggs underneath the abdomen of an adult crab, a female in this case. And the male actually will go and find the female. They use a sort of a scent that the female gives out underneath the water, and the male will find the female, and they'll hang out. The male will actually protect her for a while because she has to molt or shrink her entire body and basically shove it out the backside of the shell. Once they shrink down their muscles, they actually absorb some of the calcium carbonate from their shell, shove out from the shell, and they're very, very vulnerable. In fact, they can't walk for 2 to 3 days or so, sometimes even longer after they molt. But they're crustaceans, and just like we have clothes that grow bigger with us as we grow bigger, their shells grow bigger with them, but they have to actually remove their entire body from underneath their shell, since they have a hard outer exoskeleton. And while they're vulnerable, the males protect the females and then mate with them. And the male will actually watch over the female while her body is soft and not able to protect itself by walking away or swimming away. So anyway, she lays the eggs, and then the next stage is called zoea, and that little planktonic, so it's what we call a zooplankton or an animal plankton, swims around, and it really can't go against the tide or against currents, so we call it plankton. And then it's a megalopa, and a megalopa is like a little bit bigger plankton, but the cool little parts of its tail there actually keep things from eating it, but it still can't fight the tide or the current. But eventually it becomes a juvenile crab, and actually looks like the adults when it's a juvenile crab, but it's just very, very small, size of a dime or smaller. And they sink to the bottom and start walking around the bottom. It takes about a year for the crabs actually to start looking like a crab, and then they can live around 8 to 10 years as an adult crab. And some of the adult crab get to be pretty big. The one I am going to dissect here, this is the way a crabber picks up a crab, by the way. There are 3 different ways to hold them. I'm going to show them to you right now. But this is one way you can pick them up from the back. Now, if the crabs are really active, I don't recommend this way because they can reach you with those pinchers right there, those guys. And those can actually take off your fingers if you're not careful. Now, this guy's been kicking it for a little while, so he's pretty docile, meaning he's not likely to pinch me. But these horns here on the side of his carapace, that's what that big shell is called, the carapace. That point right there is its horn. You can hold it underneath the horn with both hands like this, and they can't reach you. Now, if you grew up cracking crab in Alaska, traditional knowledge tells you to hold all 5 legs in one hand like this, and the other 5 legs in the other hand so they can't pinch you. And then you take the nose of the crab right there in between its eyes and you smack it on the bow of your boat or on something pointy, knock the carapace off, and that's how you clean a crab. So I'm going to show you how to do this right now. But you see, this is the head, and it's actually called the cephalothorax because the head and the thorax are all one piece, and that's the abdomen right there. It's not very much. Crabs don't really have a butt, if you will. That's just their abdomen where they carry their eggs. All right, so here we go. I'm going to set this up a little bit so hopefully you can see, and I'm going to balk the nose of the crab on the edge of my bucket and then clean it into the seawater in there and do a little dissection with you, show you some of the different parts. So here we go. This is how you kill a crab. Yep, your food requires killing.